actions trailing the removal of billboards promoting the words, "All eyes on the judiciary" across the country. Over the weekend, the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria ordered the removal of the billboards and dissolved its advertising standards panel for approving the ads sponsored by a group known as the Diaspora for Good Governance. The ads were put up as the Presidential Election Tribunal prepares to deliver its verdict on the petitions challenging the victory of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Frank Shaibu, an aide on communication to former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, said the removal of the billboards across the country is an assault on freedom of speech. I mean, he's not the only one, Dr. Abati, saying that this is an assault, but let me just take some parts of that statement from Archon. They wrote, "The advertisement is controversial and capable of instigating public unrest and breach of public peace," further stating that the advertisement is considered a blackmail against the Nigerian judiciary, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, and particularly the honorable justices of the tribunal, who are expected to discharge their judicial functions without fear or favor over a matter that is currently jus pendens. I mean, Dr. Abati, you are the law student here.
Okay, two sides to this story. Yesterday, when that story broke, it was said that Tinubu had dissolved the board of Archon, or is it the advertising standards panel. I thought that, appeared very strange, because that would be a draconian way to intervene in the operations of a body established by statutes. But by the end of the day, the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria itself came forward and took ownership of it and said in a statement signed by the Director General that it was Archon that suspended the directors, the persons in charge of the advertising standards panel. And that's the statement we have on the board there. And they said, there was no vetting and that there was no approval by the council, and that the council it was that directed that the materials should be pulled down immediately, and that the directors in charge should go on suspension. What are the arguments that the Archon was putting forward? That the advertisement said to have been put together by a group of persons in diaspora was addressing a matter that is pending, jus pendens, it is called, before the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, and that it will be prejudicial, and that it is capable of causing disaffection, resulting, in bringing the Judex into disrepute, into defamation in the eyes of the right-thinking members of society. That's the technical expression. And then so the Archon took ownership of it. The other side of the argument, which I said I was worried about when it was said it was the presidency that took a decision, is about the right to free speech. Okay? People can say all eyes are on the judiciary, they can go and put it there. So I thought, how would the Tinubu administration politicize this? But they have been pushed out of it. Archon has taken responsibility as a body established by law. However, the other side of it is that, look, the judiciary has been under fire. Everybody has been saying the judiciary, all eyes are on the judiciary. But within the context of where the presidential election petitions are now, where final written addresses have been adopted, the concern, is that attempts have been made from different directions to put pressure on their lordships. And that would be contemptuous to do so. Yeah. Contempt in face of court, or contempt away from the face of the court, which is called contempt ex facie curia. In which category will fall the allegation by Babatunde Fashola SAN that some people were saying, oh, he was writing a judgment for the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. But the truth that we all know is that Nigerians are all anxious about the outcome of that presidential election petition tribunal.
That is the point.
And what will come out of the 180 days process prescribed in the Constitution for the determination of petitions arising from the presidential election election process. So that is why this takes on a fresh significance. And people are saying, oh, if you are pulling down the billboard, okay, all of us have been saying it now, that the judges must do their job without fear or favor, without, no matter whose ox is God.
100%.
That's the received wisdom
100%.
there. You know, so it's a two-way thing. ACON can hide under the fact that, well, it's the regulatory authority, but it's ACON acting under pressure. Did anybody push ACON to come out with this statement? Is ACON's statement a cover-up as a result of pressure from certain interested parties?
Those are very valid.
But as for the statement, yes, the judiciary is under pressure. After all, the recent NBA Speedel conference, the whole issue was about the role of the judiciary and the role of lawyers who are forum shopping and misbehaving contrary to the rules of conduct in this entire process. So as a statement, not many people will quarrel with it. So the relevant questions to raise is ACON acting truthfully? Was ACON pushed? And why? Right. Because this will not even stop people from saying all eyes are on the judiciary.
Oh, it's been trending
Certainly,
for
all
months.
eyes are on the judiciary.
That's the hashtag trending.
But the judex should also not be intimidated.
All right.
Because that will be contentious, especially.
Awesome. We'll take another story. The immediate former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, on Tuesday, stirred up some controversy after photos of his visit to the new national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, began circulating online. Wike was received by Ganduje at his residence in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The All Progressives Congress, in a post on X, stated that the former governor's visit to the APC national chairman was to congratulate him on his election to the position. Wike was confirmed as a minister of the Federal Republic on July 31st, a move many have described as an anti-party action by the former governor. Well, let's take some tweets on X. Nyesom Wike's recent meeting with APC National Chairman Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje is raising concerns about party discipline. It is advisable for the PDP to go ahead to suspend Wike and his associates, given the apparent disregard he has displayed for the PDP and its leadership. He has spat on the PDP's grave, and INEC should consider deregistering the party. Well, Shehu wrote, politics can be astonishing at times, especially when you remember the things that Wike has said about Ganduje. Let us not engage in internal conflicts over politicians. Instead, let us direct our energy towards holding politicians accountable. Unity among ourselves is crucial. We must stand together against the politicians, not against each other. Ayo, you saw these photos trending.
Well said, Sally. Well said.
Sally did well.
This former Governor Nyesom Wike's story has to be written into a book. He must go into the annals of history of Nigerian political space.
Yes.
How a frontliner in terms of a big political party like the PDP is obviously not just flirting with the opposition, but actually in bed, not even being caught, but promoting it, sponsoring it himself in terms of just showing. And as was said, right from the time of the G5, when he was the arrowhead of that particular group, and they actually took on responsibility, and they were proud enough to say that they were able to let the opposition win in certain states. And yet people have continuously wondered as to PDP's silence. What does former Governor Nyesom Wike have against the PDP? What hold, what power that the obvious anti-party, we're even the ones advising the PDP to say that this is anti-party activity.
Absolutely.
Discipline him. At what point? I'm not surprised that he's already, in effect, taken on a ministerial position, accepted, and gone before the House, parlied with. So this is not a surprise to me. He has just gone to congratulate his party chairman.
Yes.
So this, he goes on in history
his party
as
chairman.
being a member of two parties simultaneously, PDP, and even though he hasn't declared that he's leaving the PDP PDP to join the APC, but his body language, I don't know how that works in terms of their constitution, the PDP constitution, if this is allowed, but it is a very curious case. In fact, I have a suggestion for the curious case of Nyesom Wike and the PDP. I hope that I hope that the PDP would speak, because if this isn't handled properly, it will not serve as a deterrent to other politicians within the PDP, and it just positions them as quite weak in terms of handling their internal affairs. And finally, just to emphasize the point that at the end of the day, do not kill yourself in the wars of politics and politicians. APC and PDP, we see how they are cross-partying here and there, and sometimes, as we see, in the same party at the same time, or representing same interests at the same time.
Yes.
We must focus on the people, we must focus on interests, and not get involved in other people's war, especially politicians and political figures.
Well said, Ayo. You know, Sally's tweet was quite apt. I mean, considering the things that Wike has said about Ganduje, leads me to my next story about character and behavior. Senate President Godswill Akpabio on Tuesday at the National Policy Dialogue on Corruption, Social Norms and Behavior Change in Nigeria said behavioral change could be Nigeria's single biggest instrument in addressing corruption and the destruction of social norms in the country. Akpabio was represented at the event by his Deputy Chief of Staff. The dialogue was organized by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. I mean, this story was quite funny because everyone was talking about, how can Akpabio say this at this time? But, you know, talking about behavioral change, let's take a look at this video of a car spotted driving with only 3 tires along the Shagamu Expressway in Ogun State.
We have a lot of criminals. This is a car in my front now. Tire Yeda, you can't find it. We love to risk our life in this part of the world. Can you see? Road safety, Ogun State or Lagos State. Lagos State, plate number. Lagos State, the plate number.
AA07AG.
AA07 AG. Lagos, that's the number. To overtake. Wait to overtake. Kilo wa ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wa Nigeria tá láṣẹ báyìí. Can we call this madness or what?
Dr. Bati, over to you. Well, that guy called him a criminal. Complete criminal. I mean, it's not funny at all, actually.
I thought it was Pliny the Elder who said something new always comes out of Africa. I'm sure, you know, members of the international community, if they were to see this, they will be wondering, how can a 3-legged vehicle move, contrary to all known concepts of engineering about balance and velocity? But in Nigeria, something new always comes out, particularly. Haven't you seen people, you know, ferrying a whole cow on the back of an Okada? And there will also be a human being, you know, on top of that motorcycle. Just a clear sign of underdevelopment as we have seen it. Now, earlier on, you were talking about Wike visiting Ganduje. Well, Wike nominated to be a minister in an APC government. Well, he will have to work with the party. He has not publicly declared that he is leaving the PDP. And the PDP has said they are just waiting for him to take the appointment before they then take a decision. So there's nothing strange in Wike visiting Ganduje, the chairman of the party, the ruling party that is going to work with. Okay? The only question that you can underline for the benefit of our audience is Dele Farotimi's standard argument. Do not die in their war.
Absolutely not. That's what I said.
That's the title of the book.
No.
Dele Farotimi, do not die in their war. When you see politicians agreeing, the same politicians will come back to you and say, in politics, you agree to disagree, you disagree to agree.
Yeah.
This is a classic illustration of it. Finally, the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, was said to have been represented at a national policy dialogue on social norms and behavioral change. And his representative made a number of points. That we can tackle corruption through behavioral change.
Yes.
2, that we need to develop a culture of teaching ethics right, and integrity at all levels through awareness campaigns and educational institutions. Unfortunately, the National Orientation Agency is practically dead. It's ineffectual. Number 3, he says under his watch, the 10th National Assembly will put measures in place to fight corruption.
Yeah.
Now, all those 3 points he has made, they are valid points. They are reasonable points. They are, at the level of theory, reasonable. After all, we were in this country when somebody said, change begins with you.
That is it.
I mean, is it not in the same country?
Yeah.
Under Buhari government, the Buhari people, the change did not start with them. We did not see any change. So the question Nigerians will ask is that if you want change at the level of corruption and all that, let our leaders
That's it.
lead the way.
Well said.
Show the people the light.
Yes.
And the people will follow. To
Well
quote
said.
Nnamdi Azikwe's motto
All
in
right.
his newspaper, West African Pilot, 1947.
Well